Welcome to episode 4 of the Mystic Space podcast. Today we are going to be talking about connection and gratitude for nature. I think this is so important for every single person to do, regardless of how you identify, whether you identify as being spiritual or not, a witch, practitioner, or just, your regular old person. It doesn't matter. I think every single person will benefit from having connection and gratitude to their land and to nature. So why is having connection and gratitude for our land, for our earth, for nature important? Well, first thing I would want to explain is that everything has energy. Every single living thing is a part of something greater than we can really understand and comprehend as humans, but everything is connected. Everything has a spirit and everything has consciousness. You can look at a plant as an example and understand that it came from a seed. That seed was planted in the ground, or maybe it was dropped by birds that were flying around and picking it up and putting it in the ground, and then it ended up going into a tree, and it grows and it loses its leaves and all of these things. Like, this is all a cycle of nature. This is all perfect. Everything in nature works exactly the way it's meant to work. No, trees are not identical and they're not perfect and they're not exactly the same and they're not in a line, but they are perfect. And everything is connected. Everything is alive. Every tree is alive. Every animal is alive. Every being. Even deeper down than just what we physically can see, you can see a physical body. Even scientists have dissected that and have concluded that there is energy even in the smallest of place where we did not think it was. So we're now realizing that physical matter is actually very small to what we thought it was, and there's actually a lot more energy. And also keep in mind, humans can only see like a smidge of reality. Like, we only see like less than 1% of reality. Our human eyeballs can only see less than 1% of what is actually in front of us. So with that in mind, you have to understand that, again, our human brain can't truly comprehend everything, right? And it might sound confusing and crazy, but this is what science is showing us now. I believe everything has consciousness and everything is connected to the one source. Let's just take water as an example. People just think, oh, it's just water, just plain old regular water. Well, it's actually not. Do you know that water can actually hold memory? The way you speak to your water can actually change the molecular structure of the water. They have done tons of research on this, and there's a really great documentary. It's called The Secret of Water on Gaia. I highly recommend. But it's just about learning that even something simple that we might take for granted or might not even think about that much, like water, has its own consciousness. And again, I know that sounds crazy and our brain probably really can't comprehend it, but this is what I mean when I say that everything has energy. And this is not something that I just personally believe. There are plenty of cultures across the world that have been around for hundreds and thousands of years that have also believed this. And the reason why I find that this is important and links with everything is because I believe that everything is connected. Therefore, everything in the physical realm is also connected to everything in the spiritual realm. When you have connection and gratitude to nature, it affects your spiritual and your physical. I mean, for one thing, nature is literally the reason why we're alive. It's literally the reason why we're here to begin with. It's the reason why we wake up in the morning. It's the reason that our hearts are beating. It's the reason why we get to breathe air and drink water, and that literally just has its own journey within our bodies, and our cells are alive and they're all doing these own little things to help us alive and to process water and food and all of these things. And it's crazy because that is a part of nature. So when I say nature, I don't necessarily mean like grass and trees external to us. I believe that we are a part of nature because we came from nature, right? We're animals. We came from this land. We came from nature. And I think that on its own is enough of a reason to be grateful for it all. To wake up and realize how much of a miracle it is that you are even alive right now. Because when you stop to think about a tree that is, meters and meters high up in the sky, just came from this one little tiny seed one day. So having that gratitude that we're alive and our system works and our earth is alive and it's spinning and it provides us air and water and food and nutrients that literally keep our body not only alive but thriving. We have herbs on this planet that are helpful for reducing inflammation in our body, for reducing pain in our body, for balancing our hormones, for balancing so many things in our body. And nature provides all of that. So no matter how shit our individual physical experiences might be, mostly because of our society, right, and all the other crap that we have to abide by, if we can take a step back from that and kind of observe our life as an animal here on this planet, we do truly recognize that it's a miracle to be here. And recognizing that brings in a lot of gratitude for yourself, for being alive, for your body, your physical body, and really just for everything. It extends beyond yourself. So living connected to the land is something that our ancestors have done, that many indigenous cultures around the world continue to do and continue to act from a place of love and compassion towards nature. Now, of course, there's different practices and different cultures, and everyone who does different rituals and all of these different things across the whole entire world. But a lot of these things, their roots are to have gratitude for their land, to have gratitude for life. They have respect for our nature because, again, it gives us life. A lot of indigenous cultures have so many practices showing their gratitude to earth and hosting and holding beautiful rituals and ceremonies to show that gratitude, and also as an offering, a way to give back to earth. You know, they didn't take more than they needed. They didn't just cut a whole tree of tomatoes down because they could. They just picked that one tomato that they needed that one day to eat. And if they found something that they did need, usually they would ask permission from earth or from spirit to obtain these resources. Even if it was just food, even if it was just vegetables. You know, the mere act of picking an apple off a tree and giving thanks for that is like, thank you to this beautiful tree who has grown from this tiny little seed that is now able to produce fruit for me to be able to consume to nourish my physical body. Now, for me personally, I don't eat meat, but even in their meat practices, when they would hunt and kill an animal, they would give thanks on that animal. They had respect for that animal. Now, whether you agree with eating animals or not, I at least observe that as a beautiful connection towards our land and spirit. Do I agree that they're killing animals? No, because that's just me. I don't personally eat animals, and I don't agree with killing animals for food. However, our ancestors also did it in such a different way. You know, they only killed what they needed. They gave thanks on it. They prayed on it. You know, they thanked the animal. They thanked the spirit of the animal, and they used the entire animal, so they would share it amongst everybody, and they would find whatever else they could do with any other parts of the animal, like, you know, the skin as an example, something to help them with their house or clothing or something like that. It wasn't wasteful. Whereas now, if you look at the meat industry, it's just filled with animals in cages that are not living in their natural state at all. They are stressed. They're being fed things that are not natural to them to help them grow bigger and faster and stronger so that they can be eaten quicker. And it just goes to show how much disconnect we have from our nature. Because again, our ancestors had respect for our earth. They understood that, you know, it's not just ours to come and take and to destroy everything and just do what we can just because we can. Yes, we are humans. Yes, we're intelligent. Yes, we're smart. Yes, you can say we're on top of the food chain. Yes, you can say we've evolved and everything like that. But that does not mean that we just have the right to come into earth and just destroy it all and, you know, not understand the consequences that come with that. That a lot of us only now are understanding how much damage we've already done to this earth on a short period of time, such as creating something like plastic that we have no way of actually getting rid of, and that is just continuously dumped in landfill. So our nature is just having to absorb all of these chemicals and all of these things that are man-made that nature is not meant to deal with. Our ancestors used to plant trees and do whatever it could to actually help nature. Whereas now we just cut down trees for the use and the consumption and over consumerism and capitalism that is here today. They knew how to work with the land. You know, they knew when storms were coming. They knew what to do when storms were coming. It was completely different than how we operate now. Even here in Australia, we knew that the indigenous people of our land here would burn trees, and they weren't doing this to be destructive and to just take all the land because they could. They knew how nature worked, and they knew that there's a lot of bushfires here in Australia and things like that, so they knew that if they pre-burnt the bushes in these certain areas, now I don't know the extent of it all, but if they pre-burnt the bushes in these certain areas, that it would help so that when the fires would come, it wouldn't destroy their whole village. It wouldn't destroy the whole land. So they knew how to work with nature. They knew how to protect her, and they knew how to use nature to protect us too. They understood the cycle of life, and that, things do happen to come to a destruction because that is nature, that is Earth, that is how this planet operates, and that's something that we cannot stop. Although I do believe that that's something that they're trying to stop. They're trying to control the weather. And that's something that we have to understand that we have no control over. We are just this minuscule little tiny blob of energy in this vast universe that is literally limitless. We can't control anything external to ourselves to that degree, especially without having severe consequences. So why is gratitude and connection to land important, and why do you care about it? Well, I think the important thing here is gratitude. And gratitude is the key to joy, to happiness, to peace. If you can have gratitude for what you have right now in this present moment, even if it's simple, even if it's small, even if it's something like the air that you breathe in and actually keeps you alive. So it's actually not really a small thing, but something that we overlook usually as humans. If you can have gratitude for air, for being alive, you will be putting yourself in a much more positive, and I say that with quotations because I know that for a lot of people, positive and negative can be very triggering, and people think that, saying be positive means that like you're all love and light and like high frequency and everything like that. But what I mean is that if you are striving to live a more fulfilled life, to feel more joy and peace and happiness in your life, then gratitude is something that amplifies that so much on your journey, so much in your life. Because again, if you can be grateful for something as simple as the air, then you're already living in gratitude. You're already living in like a higher vibration, if you must. But doing this strengthens that within yourself, that you can now be grateful for so many more things beyond yourself. And that is so important when you're on this journey of life, because this life isn't necessarily just about you. You're not the only human here on earth. We are here together. As a collective, we are here together with nature, with all the other plants, with all the other beings, with all the other animals. We are here supposed to be living in harmony with each other. And doing that will fill your life with so much more gratitude, because I believe in the laws of attraction. I believe in the laws of the universe. So if you're amplifying gratitude, the universe will send that back to you. If you're constantly looking for things that you feel grateful for, and you're feeling grateful for all of these things, and that's what your focus is on, that's what the universe will give back to you. If you're constantly focused on the negative and oh, this sucks and that's bad and this shit and that sucks and this is bad and this is horrible and it shouldn't be like this, then that's what the universe is going to keep giving to you. And that's what your brain is going to keep focusing on, because that's what your brain thinks that you want to focus on. So practicing gratitude helps us get out of our mind and live more in our heart space. And I believe that living in your heart space is what is more aligned to our souls, because living from the mind has come from living in a society that is not made for us. And I didn't quite fully understand all of this until the last few years, where I started practicing a lot more gratitude for nature and for earth and for being alive and for my physical body. And that's when I started realizing that everything is all connected. It's literally all one. And that has helped me live a life so much more aligned to who I am, where I'm feeling like my soul is lit up and I'm living from my heart space more, and I feel more at peace and I feel so much more joyful and happy and just more fulfilled in life. Because take away the mind and all the stresses of society and we live in our heart, we're more grateful for the simple things in life, for just being alive, for just being amongst nature. We don't do as much in our brain. So a few things that I've personally done and things that you can do that might resonate with you to help your connection with the land, with nature, is just simply spending more time in nature, just off your phone, just sitting there. Whether you go for a walk in the park, or whether you go to a forest, or whether you go for a waterfall walk, or whether you go to the beach, or whatever it is that you do, but just try not to be distracted. Don't sit on your phone. You don't even need to listen to music or anything. If you want to have some background music, if that helps you, whatever, that's different. But just try to be amongst nature. Just really look around and look at the trees and go, wow, like, observe the colors, observe everything around you, listen to the sounds, listen to the birds. Recognize how small you truly are in this vast earth that we live in. At nighttime, look up at the stars. That's one of my favorite things to do, because I feel like looking up at the stars just really reminds you how small you are. Like, there's something about looking up at a star and realizing that you're so far away from that star and you're like this little tiny little speck of dust in the universe. And I love doing that because it really reminds me that my problems ain't shit. Like, we get so caught up in our mind and all this shit with our physical realm again that we have to abide by, we have to live by, and we have to go through all of this traumatic crap and have all these connections that are not really authentic. And it really plays a toll on our mind, right? We live in our mind a lot, and our monkey mind is stressed because of that, because we're usually living in adrenaline. So looking up at the sky really just reminds you that none of that shit's really important, right? Like, Earth could be gone with the click of a finger, and none of that shit would fucking matter. Like, there is such a high chance that a meteor could just come and hit us at any moment, or something could happen where we would all just literally get eliminated. And none of our stupid problems of what the hell this person said at work and why this person did that and all of this other dumb shit wouldn't fucking matter. Another thing you can do is meditating in nature. Now, again, meditation doesn't always necessarily mean sitting down in lotus position or, you know, whatever it is that you think it is and trying to think of nothing. Again, meditation could be just as simple as going to a park or a waterfall and looking around, because that is what meditation is. That's the goal of meditation, is to be mindful. So when you go out and be amongst nature, you don't necessarily need to sit down and do it. I personally love meditating within nature because I love hearing like the sounds and everything like that. I feel like it's very peaceful and it helps me get into a meditative state fairly quickly. You can go hug a tree, touch things, you know, ask spirit to talk to you through the plants, whatever it is. You know, when you have a little house plant at home, even if it's just one, if you've just started out and you have no idea what the heck I'm talking about with energy or anything like that and you think I'm wacko, when you just have a plant, you know, just touch its leaves. Just when you water it, just be like, oh, here you go, have a drink. You know, just talk to it like it's a living thing. Recognize the animals around you when you go for a walk, or even if you have pets, you know, stare into their eyes and realize like, wow, there's a whole soul behind there, right? Like, I'm in this body and you're in that body, but you know, we're kind of all a part of this together. One thing that I personally love doing is lighting incense sticks. So when I have a fire, as an example, I will light 5 incense sticks, 1 for each element and the spirit. And I will also light an incense stick every single morning as like a gratitude for waking up and being alive, and thank you for this earth, and thank you for holding me, holding space for me to be alive today. I light an incense stick in my house every day to give thanks for my house and to send blessings to it. Not the physical sense of the house, but my home, like my area, my energy bubble. You can light an incense stick or create a candle, which is something else that I love doing. Like recently I created a candle for when I garden. So I set up a candle, I put all these things at the bottom of it, I set an intention, I wrote on a bay leaf and everything like that. Now every time I garden, I'm going to light that candle, and it's going to be my way of giving thanks and praise while I garden. I feel like there's so many fun ways that you can incorporate gratitude towards nature, and nature is something that's really beautiful and loves being taken care of as well. Again, it's its own spirit. I really believe that Mama Earth is its own living being, its own organism, which is getting proved by science, because they are now proving with quantum physics that energy is in everything and everything is connected. Another great way to give gratitude and have connection to your land is to walk around and pick up local rubbish. Go to the beach, enjoy a day at the beach, but then also bring a plastic bag and pick up some rubbish. You know, unfortunately we live in a world where a lot of people are not recognizing how important it is to just do a simple thing such as putting rubbish in a rubbish bin. And as you can see from walking around most places on Earth, that a lot of people do litter still, and that's just not good for our environment. It's not good for the other animals. I'm sure you've seen documentaries or something where you've seen some animal entangled in something plastic. Even our sea creatures or our birds, no matter what it is, there's always something that we have done as humans that have damaged and caused some sort of havoc for nature. Another thing that's really important is trying to buy local as much as possible, whether it's your produce or whether it's products in general. Produce, obviously it makes sense even better because it will be better, it will be fresher. One thing that I try to focus on is the further away it is, the more energy it takes to get to me. I'm not saying you should never buy anything from overseas ever again. I'm just saying that if it's possible for you to try to buy local, then opt for that option. Try buying from ethical brands, because there are a lot more brands that are coming coming out that are trying to be as ethical as possible, whether it's their packaging or whether it's the way they obtain their ingredients or whatever it is. But again, try to have it local to you. Like if you live in Australia, try to find Australian skincare brands, try to find Australian cleaning products. For me personally, everything I use is natural. I either try to make something myself or I buy everything natural because I am on a health journey and I am eliminating toxins and chemicals from my diet and my surroundings for my physical health. But that's also important when you're having connection and gratitude to land, because all of these chemicals that are man-made are not good for our earth. And where are they ending up? In the sink, down the sink to earth, in our lands, whatever it is, it's all ending up back at earth. And earth cannot handle this because it's not made for these chemicals. It's not made to be treated this way. So every single little thing that you use from your dishwashing liquid matters, because that goes down the drain and earth has to absorb that. So try to buy as natural products as possible. You know, if you have like markets around you or something like that, those are great places to start, because most of them are small businesses where they're just trying to make their own products, and a lot of them will have skincare and things like that that they make themselves. And yes, sometimes it can be a little bit more pricey, but for me that's something that's really important. And it's also taught me not to overconsume, you know, not to just keep buying things just because, or to try new things, or you know, whatever it is like I used to before. Now it's really about, okay, I don't really need 15 products for my face, you know. I don't need 20 cleaning products. I just need 1 or 2 really good products. So it's about being more mindful and understanding that your demand creates the supply. So the more people that buy these things that are horrible for the planet and that are all, you know, made in China for 50 cents and sold on Shein and TMU and whatever, that is all just going to be junk thrown away soon. You are supporting these brands that continuously do harm to nature. And no, not everybody can be perfect, okay? You don't just have to go live out off grid and like live in a hut that you built by yourself from sticks or anything like that to be in gratitude and to have connection to nature. It's really about doing all the small little steps that you think you can. Whatever you think that you can do in your day-to-day to have some sort of connection and to bring some sort of gratitude for yourself and for life and for your body and for nature and for earth and for the universe and everything. Whatever it is that makes you feel good, do that. Do whatever it is that you can do, and just recognize that, you know, you're not the only one living on this planet. We're all in this together. Community is so important. So helping out community is helping out nature, because we're all a part of nature. And again, everything, I feel like a broken record, but everything is connected. And another thing I would love to mention is, no matter where you are in the world, I think it's really beautiful if you try to connect with the indigenous people of that land and learn from them. Learn how they use the land that you're currently living on. Learn how they showed gratitude. Learn what is around you that you might be able to use. You know, you might have some native plants around you or something that you might be able to use in your practice, or to help you with your physical body, or to cook with, or whatever it is. Indigenous people understood that earth was its own energy and that we must take care of it. We must respect it. We must love it. We must nurture it. And that's something that us as humans, especially over in the West, have definitely disconnected from. And I think that creates a huge disconnect in general in our lives, mentally, physically, and spiritually. Because again, we are beings of nature. And if we are disconnected from nature, then we are not going to be in harmony. We are not going to be balanced within ourselves, and we're not going to feel fulfilled. Anyway, thank you for listening to another episode of the Mystic Space podcast, and I will see you in the next one. Blessings.